muscle injury. We had him evaluated, and he's going to need that fixed. So he will be put down there, so on IR. And then as far as Juju and Mike Danigo, both are making progress and so on and so forth there. So, and then DeAndre Hopkins, just take a few questions on that, but we're excited to have him here and join in with that receiving core. And again, he's been a proven player, and he'll work in those spots. That Juju and Rashid did. So.
Andy, obviously he's been a good player over the years, but other than that, is there something specifically that he does well that you feel like you guys have maybe been lacking?
Well, I think not necessarily lacking, but I think he's a good. He's a veteran player and seen just about everything over 12 years. So, and he's a good space player. So he's very good understanding how to work in space. At the same time, he's a tough matchup because of his size, arm length, big body that knows how to kind of play that low post area very well.
How about a timetable for him playing?
Well, it could be this weekend. We'll see how he picks up. I've got to get him on the practice field. But why wait, right? If he can handle it without putting him in a bad position.
And related to that, I think Justin Reid used the term that he has a master's class in football, or his knowledge is deep and he'll pick up things fast. How much are you already aware of that, and what will that mean in this process?
Yeah, he's a smart guy, and he understands football likewise, and Justin knows him probably better than anybody. Just haven't been with him for those years. That's exciting. I mean, that's a good thing. We've got a lot in right now, and we're just trying to get him acclimated with meetings here, and we'll see how things go at practice. But you can tell he's a very focused guy, and he's intelligent. So,
reasonably speaking, how many additional hours would it be for Hopkins this week? Like shorter menu? How does that process work? Whenever willing to.
You start kind of from the bottom of just the snap count part of it, and work your way up through. But he's seen enough. He's been around it long enough to where it's more a dialect than a language. So that he has to learn.
We'll do last year. We're going to add him and then Sam will be done.
Andy, are you done at wide receiver? The deadline's still a couple weeks away. Do you guys have anything else going there?
Only if you want to jump in, take a few reps.
Sam?
He does some stuff that maybe isn't what you guys currently have on the roster as far as planning traffic. I just wonder, is that something that you guys need to adjust to fit his skill set, or do you want him to more adjust to what you guys are already doing well?
No, listen, we do this with all players. We try to utilize their strengths and work them in to what we do. Without completely changing everything. I mean, we've got a little of everything in the offense. So, but he's similar in being able to his awareness in space as Juju and Rashid was developing into. So, and that's a good thing in this offense to be able to do.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, good.
One, there was obviously something you saw on film that you thought would work during that situation, and secondly, with Jaden, just how much is it that you have a respect for a young guy in that situation to be able to
I got a lot of respect. I got a lot of confidence in him. I mean, he's a good football player. He's very instinctive. Obviously, fakes are no good when they don't work. So we tried it. We thought the timing was right. Early. Not really. Kind of more of a surprise. Thought we could get it. Obviously, wouldn't call it if we didn't get it. Didn't execute it totally. Perfectly. It happens.
Dave, on the next quarter, it seemed like you guys were prepared for a fake punt with San Francisco. I just wondered, like, McCole returned that punt. He said usually he's going to fair catch that spot. Like, how rare is it to bust one with personnel you guys
Yeah,
have?
if you go back and watch it was the second time we had or defense stay on the field. We left defense out twice. The first time, Leo almost blocked the punt. If you watched it close, and then so that was on. We had defense stay in there again, so that was on his mind. So we rushed the punt a little bit. We got a good punt kick to us. Luckily, McCole read it and didn't fair catch it right away. Saw that it wasn't a good hang time. We were able to get the ball in our hand and then make a big play. So it was a really heads up play by McCole, and our defense stay team too did a good job.
What do you think of the block that McDuffie had on that play?
Yeah, I mean those guys. I had all those guys before. So when they get out there on that play, they have a chance to make a play on special teams. He takes it really serious and like just the other day, he stuck his head in my head. Hey, did you see my knockdown? I said, yeah, I saw it. But it's awesome. I mean, all those guys, Turk and everybody out there, Bolton, every one of them is working real hard to get blocks, and that's why that play worked. You got defensive guys that are starting that are playing their butt off for you on special teams. So I mean, that's what we got going right now.
Coach, ahead of last game, Josh Williams had been only playing special teams. That can be tough for a player sometimes. How did you see him attack that?
Yeah, he was a four-phase player for us. Obviously before the injury. Now we have to see what's going to happen here. We don't really know exactly. So as a coach, I have to hedge my bets, like who's going to be in, who's not going to be in. So it's going to be Nazi, him. We don't really know who's going to get the majority of the reps. So we'll play it out as the game goes on and see who's getting most, and we'll have to pull the other guy back on some special teams. So, other guy, obviously Taylor is going to be moved up. He's moved up. He'll be active. He's going to play. So we're expecting him to, step in and play some special teams roles for us.
Back to the McCole punt return. Is there a rule of thumb, fair catch or not? Do you?
Yeah, it's a hang time. I mean, it's a thing. It's getting reps in practice, seeing if the ball's hung up there and it's for a long time and you're checking the coverage and the coverage is coming, the guys are coming off blocks and they're coming free, you make the fair catch. But if the ball's coming down and they're blocked up and you're open and the timing of it, you don't want a fair catch, you want to return it. So that's just part of the learning curve of a good punt returner can figure that out.
And the fact that he's been doing it for a while,
Yeah.
you trust.
The punt returner, I've said this a lot of times, the punt returner is besides a quarterback, it's probably the hardest thing to do, in my opinion. On the football field, it's hard. You got guys coming down on you. You got to make a lot of quick decisions. You got to catch the ball, and then it's tough. So I have a lot of trust in him. He has a great experience, and he's gotten better and better. He's really taken it serious this year. I mean, because that's a big part of his role right now is being that guy.
What do you learn about Chris Wallace? As far as
He's just a solid player a rookie that kind of unsung hero kind of guy. He's a lot like Hicks. I have a lot of trust in him. He does a lot of important things for us. Singled up gunners, as a corner, he singles up guys and runs with them and great effort. He's a smart, instinctive football player that's really stepped up for us. Our young guys are doing a great job.
A couple more. All good?
All good. Thank you. See you later.
on this fine morning? You got 1 minute. You got 1 minute. Checked it. You said my watch fast, so I had to do some calculating. I know you just got done with Coach and Coach Tobe. We had 1 day of practice yesterday for this team. Anxious to get another one in here. So with that, I'll just kind of open it up.
Steve, you played against DeAndre Hopkins. You had a game plan against him.
Yeah.
What's the difficulty of that matchup?
Yeah, big wide receiver that has a huge catch radius, right? Catches everything. A lot of respect for him. I'm glad he's on our team now. That's a good thing.
And then wanted to ask you obviously about Jalen as well. Which is what kind of football was he giving you this year? And then
Jalen Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah, really disappointed to see that happen. That's sad. I mean, he was doing one of these, really. So we go back to training camp and then the off season. Actually, training camp, he was hurt. So, I mean, but he battled his way. We talked about the battle at the corner position. He kind of surfaced as the guy, had been the guy since the beginning, and to have that happen, I think, is crushing to all of us. But somebody else has got to step up. I mean, certainly Nazi will get in there, Josh will get in there. We may rotate some guys, do some different things, but we'll have to find a guy that can be as effective as Jalen was.
Chris Wallace saw a little bit more work this past week.
Say it again.
Chris Wallace.
Yes.
Saw a little bit more work. How is he?
You said Chris, I immediately go to Chris Jones, and then I had to get the other. So we got C2, so Chamari Connor we call C2, and Chris is C-Row. So I got C2, C-Row. There's some other initials in there, J. Reid, JR. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
How is he kind of developing?
Yeah.
How is he fitting in?
Listen, C-Row is one of those guys that he came here as a free agent. He earned everything he's gotten right now. He made the team, made the roster, made the 53. He's earned playing time. I don't know if you know, Dave and I talked every week about trying to get him in there in games. We got him in there last week, even I think before Jalen got hurt. I can't even remember, but we've been talking about it a lot. I guess what I'm trying to say is he's kind of earned the right to get some playing time. So you'll see him in and out of there, and we're going to have to use him as one guy goes down. Other guys' responsibilities go up, so that'll happen to Chris.
Do you remember the time where he caught your eye when he first showed up? Was it OTAs? Was it in a meeting? Was it at camp?
You know what, Adam? You know what it was? What really stuck out first? So he came. Really didn't know a lot about him. Knew he was a good footballer. He did play some nickel. He had played some safety, but he was mainly a corner. I think at the time we had a lot of corner numbers. And we decided Chris played a lot more safety in training camp than he actually played nickel and corner. He played nickel. And what was impressive to me was how smart he was. And here's a guy that goes from playing outside in college and some nickel to playing safety, which is not easy in any system. And that impressed me. And then he started making plays. Like he made him in training camp. He made him in practice against our offense, and then he just kind of slowly climbed. Somewhere in there, I remember saying we need to put him at nickel and see what he can do there. And then he excelled at that spot. It didn't seem real big to him. Like he didn't. I was really impressed with the way he handled it.
What are the chances that Roland Wallace could emerge? You talked about Nazi and Joshua, but even emerge as a possibility to be a replacement for Watson.
Well, we'll see. To this point, Chris has played more. He's been safety. He's been inside. And so he hasn't been out there for a while. So right now it might be Josh and Nazi, but there's nothing that says we can't, move Chris Rowe out there.
Is there a trickle-down effect that affects like Trent? Like in a dime looks, maybe there's temptation to keep him on the outside if there's talent.
Yeah, we'll see. We have some package. We had a package where we did that with him in those dime situations. I didn't get to it a lot. We may have been in 3 or 4 snaps. So we have it. We'll see how often we use it.
Nate?
Hicks made a nice adjustment on
Yeah.
the interception. Just tell us about.
Yeah, Jaden, some of the things we do here are what he did at Washington State. And when we call those certain coverages, you can see that he can unwind it. It's natural for him. And that some things we do in the red zone, I think he did when he was in college. I thought he made a really good play on that. Found the football, right? I mean, your eyes got to get back to see it, to catch it. And I thought that was a huge play. I mean, a turnover in the red zone is big. I was really happy for him. So too, I told C-Row and Jaden Hicks that 20 years from now, when they're all done playing, and they'll be talking about, and they'll say, remember we both got our first interception in the same game. I thought that was pretty cool that 2 rookies got it on the same day. That was a great catch by Chris too. Keep his feet in.
Nate?
I remember in training camp, Steve, you said you wanted to see more physicality from Felix. Now 6 games in, seeing what he's doing on the edge, maybe setting the edge a little bit better. Just is this incremental progress that you had maybe anticipated or wanted to see?
No, it's a good point, and I don't remember saying that, but I'm sure I did if you said that, Nate. I think I probably wanted them all to be more physical. I can think of a specific play from this past game where he really was that. And I think we all need to do that. I think this team we're getting ready to play, we need to be that because I know they're going to be that. You know how much respect I have for Antonio. I know he's going to have this team ready. He's going to have this offense ready. I mean, we got to be ready to get punched in the mouth because that's what they do. And, you know, if they don't turn the ball over, this team's in every game. This is we only look at it from the standpoint of what offense we got to stop, but we're not letting our guard down.
Which play was it?
You know, he was on the right side and he came and I think somebody was pulling and he kind of thought he was good and physical and made a good play on it. I can't remember what they got on it, but as soon as Nate said that, that's what I thought of that play.
Bonner?
Steve, speaking of punched in the mouth, what do you remember most about that last game with the Raiders, and what would you say came out of that? I guess that's the most important thing.
The thing I remember most is, we were in there swinging away, right? It was a pretty tight game, but where we kind of were disappointing as a group was when we had to stop them at the end, right? I think we had enough timeouts, and we call it 4-minute defense, right? And we didn't get that done. They ripped off a couple of long runs and kind of iced the game, which is what you want your offense to do if you're on their sideline. But we would have liked to have rose up somehow and got the ball back to Patrick one more time. Am I right in saying it was a 2014 final?
2014.
Yeah, so if we could have got it back to Pat one more time. That's what I remember. Now, I thought we played, for the most part, pretty good. I think we only gave up 6 points, or when there were a couple of pick sixes, and but when you finish like that, it's just kind of a bad taste. So we're gonna remember that and hopefully not let that happen.
And obviously, defense, offense, separate performances in that game. But I mean, was there a little sense of soul searching about where the team was at that point?
I don't remember that. Listen, that's Coach Reid's job, team-wise. We're kind of one of the, in the defensive unit meeting room, that's kind of what we do. Good, bad, or indifferent. Like, our job really doesn't change. I say this all the time, whether we're ahead or whether we're behind. So we stay in our lane, so to speak.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, good. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Well, trying to ingrain a new receiver to the team. Just what's that process like early on, and just your early conversations with DeAndre and how he's kind of meshing with the guys?
It's exciting. It's, I think, for everybody. You get a guy that's super experienced. He's been in this league a long time. He's had a lot of success. And so, you look at both situations, and I feel like it's really a win-win type deal. But he came in this morning and ready to rock and roll, and everything it's a first time now for him. So he's getting in here the first time, trying to figure out where to sit in the meetings. First time to go in walkthroughs and figure out how we do walkthroughs. First time to go out and figure out what practice tempo is like. There's a lot of firsts. So as sometimes it can get to thinking it's just like plug and play, there's a process to it. So we want to make sure we do that the right way, and Coach Reid's been great with that.
Obviously, he's been a good player over the years, but is there something he does specifically well that maybe can help you guys, you feel like?
I'd say, Adam, the biggest thing right now is his hands are phenomenal. He has really, really good hands. I think he's got some of the least amount of drops in the history of the NFL. But the experience that he has, which comes, I think, with that is trust. And so he's played in a lot of games. He understands, and he's seen a bunch of different defenses. That's valuable. Whether it's zone or man, he's a very good route runner. He understands leverages. And one of the things, just getting to kind of, you see it on tape, you see it in interviews, but then when he's here up close and live and in person, you see the confidence and the swag that he has. And I think that confidence can really penetrate, and you feel that with the other players. You got to go out and do it. So it's just that we're at the beginning stages, but he's really he does a lot of good things in zones too.
What do you feel like he adds that the offense was missing?
I don't know if I don't think it's not necessarily that the offense was missing, but everything that I just said, the ability to have that experience, understanding in moments the route running and leverages of different coverages. There's a lot of guys that come in as rookies and they don't really see the back end. What they think is cover two is not. He knows it's cover two. So like timing with the quarterback. So we got to work through getting that now in practice with Pat. And then it's a slow process to get there, but we want to make that process be as fast as possible. We understand that.
And that's probably one of the biggest acquisitions receiver-wise that Pat has got. What are you hoping that players such as Xavier, McCullough, and others will pick up and learn from him?
Just the biggest thing is probably is going to show up on game day. I think once he gets in there and he starts seeing the connection of understanding the routes that we call, the concepts that we call, and then how the timing works with the guy in front of him, playing man, understanding zone and how to figure out different ways in zone to get open. And then with that is us also making sure that he understands our practice tempo, Monday through, or really Wednesday through Saturday. And then those guys bonding together in that room, I'm talking about the wide receivers, and growing together, and then building that core of confidence and the ability to play fast and make it work with Pat.
How much does your workload change over the next 4 days when it comes to one-on-one coaching you and Connor and so on and so forth, of just making sure that he's able on Sunday?
It's definitely different in a good way. There's more to it. You have to. Again, like I said, this is not something that just everybody always talks about. It's a different language. It is. That's common. But these guys that go to different teams, they understand that. They know that. The professional side of it is making sure that you put in the time outside of practice and outside of meetings to get there as fast as you can. So to your point, this morning, all day, the rest of today, on tomorrow, on Friday, and then all day Saturday, it's nonstop as much as you can, and that's where Coach Connor will do a great job, and we want to get him up to speed.
Matt, you mentioned his hands, and obviously he's got a big catch radius as well. Do you foresee taking advantage of that maybe in different ways than what your offense currently operates?
I feel like we will. He's always done that his whole career. I mean, the guy had 1,000 yards last year, and you put on the tape, not just this year, not just last year, but you look at some of the things that he does well. And, man, I shook his hand this morning for the first time, and I have pretty big hands, and he's like swallowed my hands. He's got massive hands. So there's a reason why he's, catching these footballs, and then he's a true pro. So we want to make sure that he comes in here, and it's a process, but it's on tape. So we want to make sure we merge it together.
Man, how much of Hopkins, getting ingratiated is, hey, this is what we've done with, similar receivers like Juju or Rashee Rice, or how much of it is, allowing him to sort of tell you guys what he feels most comfortable with, considering, how many games you have to get this right?
Yeah, there's a lot of volume of what he does well, so we have that. It's not like a rookie that comes out of college where the game's different. So we want to be able to balance taking what he does well, using his strengths, and implementing it into what we do offensively. But then also, too, he has to be able to adjust maybe a technique or something slightly to how he runs a specific route based off of our rules that we have. But that's the fun part, to be quite honest with you, is when you have somebody that comes in that's new. Every player that's, like, even with Juju, like learning what Juju did well when he got here 2 years ago. It didn't happen overnight, but by the time we got to the Super Bowl against the Eagles, we really felt comfortable knowing what he could do, and we want the same process here with him.
Vahe and then Adam.
Matt, obviously you guys haven't lost since that Raiders game last year. I wonder what you remember about that day and what you would say came out of it in terms of how it helped you guys reset, for lack of a better term.
Remember a lot, and it was one of those deals where we really just got beat across the board, and it's frustrating. As a coach, you feel like you want to be able to be better for your guys and help out and do your part. I can remember the next week coming back and saying, what can I do better to help these guys out? And at the same point in time, you almost look back and say, and you hear a lot of people say, you're almost, you feel like maybe that happened for a reason because it woke us up and set us for the rest of the season. That said, every year is different. This is a physical football team that flies around, and they live on the personality of Coach Pierce. And I think for us, we understand and know that this is going to be a fight, you know, and they're physical and they do a lot of good things well, but we division game too, right? That's massive. So for us, we remember a lot about it, but we don't want to make it too big of a moment. We think we have a good thing going, and we want to just stay within what we're doing.
Is there carryover from who you guys became at the end of last year to who you guys see yourselves as now, just identity-wise?
Probably a little bit from the coaching standpoint, and then also from player standpoint. Maybe again, every team's a little bit different, but for the most part, I feel like that one there, right there, that game on Christmas Day, that brought everybody together, and it could have some separate you. That one brought us together.
Matt, regarding Kareem Hunt, in what ways do you feel like he's made a difference in the running game part of it specifically?
Physicality, not losing yards, mentality of just, you know, give me the ball. And you put that tape on and watch him get hit. I don't, you know, I can't imagine what he feels like on a Monday. You know, it cannot feel very good, but it's a sacrifice he does for this team. He's loving it. We're loving handing him the ball. The offensive line is blocking their tail off with the tight ends. It's a really good thing for the offense right now, and I love Kareem.
How much of Kareem went from 2017 have you seen it? Because there were reporters who said he was off, you know, you need 2 yards to get you 3, you need 4 yards to get you 3. Give me your thoughts on how he's transitioned back here.
I know he does what we want him to do, and again, I was here with him in 17, and he reminds me a lot of that same player, and so we love where he's at. He's physical, and usually when we ask him to get 3, he gets us 4, and when we ask him to get 4, he gets us 5.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Chris, you were quick to tweet about DeAndre and his addition to the team. How are you feeling about it?
Feeling really good, with the acquisition of D-Hop. Me and him conversed about this like 2 years ago. We was in Miami just talking about what it'll look like, how successful I think he can be in this offense with Pat and the offensive minded Coach Reid. And we finally got him here, so I'm excited about it.
What was that conversation like? Trying to, I guess, pitch DeAndre on the idea of Kansas City and on the Chiefs, and just how receptive was he back then, I guess, 2 years ago?
I mean, we both agreed that he'll be super successful with this offense. Just at the time, there was a lot of things going on, and unfortunately, we wasn't able to acquire him at the time. But how life works; it's a full circle, man. And unfortunately, with injuries, we needed a wide receiver, and full circle moment, man. We was able to get him.
Chris, just to be clear, you said Miami. Was that just like an off-season workouts? What specifically, where were you guys?
I think we was at an event in Miami, a fishing event, 2 years ago. And I was there. I was part of the fishing event. I think he was also, and then we was able to talk, have a chat about what it'll be like being in Kansas City, what is Kansas City like, and how successful he can be with us.
Yeah, I remember who's the better fisher?
Who?
The better fisher.
Of course, come on, man. Listen, listen. It's when you go about fishing in this league, I feel like I'm one of the top. I fish with Peter Miller. I fish with the legends of the sea. So what can I say? Tomato, tomato.
There's not many of you guys over 30 here on this team. So do you guys kind of bond together, the older vets, and are you happy to have someone else in the 30-plus club?
Continue to remind me that I'm old. Thank you. No, I feel like age is just a number. It's more so of all of the ability, the mental aspect, and what we're able to bring to this team. You look at a guy like Travis Kelce, who is pushing 40, and who is still able to do it at a high level. And I think D-Hop is a guy that's still able to do it at a high level in the right offense. So I think he's going to be a great addition to this offense, who've been troubled by injury throughout the year. Hopefully he's able to play immediately. We can use his ability on the outside, inside, and definitely for him to win one-on-one matchups.
Chris, how do you think that Raiders game affected the team last year in terms of whether it brought you guys together and sort of set the tone for the rest?
It was definitely a wake-up call in December, close to Christmas game. And they came here and kicked our butt. No excuses about it. Brought out the Kermit the Frog thing. I completely understand that. The last time we played them, we got our butt kicked. They outplayed us on all phases of the ball. So this year we're aware of that. We can hold it in the back of our heads and see if we can have a different outcome this game.
Did you feel like, in the long run, that game, did you guys get some good in terms of the wake-up call and everything?
What they say, you learn a lot from a loss. So we was able to learn a lot, and you grow when you face adversity. So that was an adversity game for us mentally, and we was able to bounce back from it, learn a lot from it also.
Chris, George seemed to be pretty active in San Francisco. Just wondered what you thought of his performance in that game.
I love George's performance in that game. Not only was he active, he was flying around. He was not complaining. We finally got him a sack. But we got to continue to be consistent in that area, all phases of the game, especially George. I think he's somebody who can, if we get George going consistently, he can be very successful for this defense. But we just got to keep on him, keep at him, making sure you keep his head down and stand at it.
Couple more.
Thank
All
you.
good? Thank you guys.
Y'all take care.
Thank you.
DeAndre, welcome
What's
to
up?
Kansas City. You know, last time you played the Chiefs was in the AFC Championship game in 2019. I know your best game was in 2017 with 3 touchdowns. What's it like now playing with those quarterbacks to now you're going to be playing with Patrick Mahomes?
Always been a fan of Pat. Stayed in touch with him throughout his career. So, excited to go get started.
While you were in Tennessee, teammates with L'Jarius Sneed. What did he, before you came here, what did he tell you? Did you all have conversations about what it's going to be before you here in Kansas City?
No, we didn't have many conversations. We was focused on where we were.
DeAndre, how do you just see your fit in the offense? I assume you played against these guys and you watch these guys enough to know the way they like to play and you know yourself really well. How do you see that marrying?
Wherever I'm needed. That's on coaches to put me where I need to be, but wherever I'm needed.
DeAndre, what would you say about Patrick's game and how you watched that over the years and what you do think of his capacity as a quarterback?
One of the best to do it. I was looking forward to going out there playing with him. Obviously, been a fan of his, so can't wait.
Chris Jones said that you guys talked a couple years ago about what it would be like if you could come here and play.
Pardon me, who you say it first?
Chris Jones.
Okay.
He said in Miami, you guys talked a couple years ago, kind of like how awesome would that be? I was going to ask you if you thought about what it would be like to play with Patrick, and Andy Reid, and just kind of, what you thought about that.
Yeah, obviously throughout my career, been a big fan of what Andy has done, going against those guys in Houston. They gave us some tough battles, so I always, just admired them from afar. Chris Jones is one of my buddies off the field, so him and I, of course, talked about, the potential, if I ever got the chance being a free agent or getting traded.
DeAndre, you've been traded before. Can you walk us through just your initial reaction when you found out that the trade is going to happen? You are going to be a Chief, considering your move from Houston to Arizona.
Obviously, the trade before was a little different, different circumstances. I got to thank Rand and his staff for, trading me to a contender, first of all, because those guys, could have traded me anywhere. But, I got to tip my hat off for those guys before anything and thank them a lot for that. Coming here, when I got the news, obviously I was excited, but, ready to get to work.
Hey, Andre, what do you find out about this place the moment you step into the building, about just the winning culture here? And does it feel like that the moment you step in?
Oh, yeah.
Guys?
Oh, yeah. I think everything everybody does here, not just in this facility, but outside the facility, is detailed, and that's how you win championships.
DeAndre, what's the process of studying and trying? Andy mentioned potentially playing on Sunday. What's the process of studying and trying to get up to speed in a hurry?
I've been in the NFL for 12 years, so, I know football, so hopefully I can go out there and make some plays and wherever I'm fitted, wherever I'm needed.
DeAndre, what you've done in your career, what does it mean to you to come into a building that knows how to win championships and the approach that it takes?
It means a lot. It takes your game to a different level. It takes your focus, your drive, knowing that you're playing for something. It takes your game to a different level. I haven't played meaningful football in a couple years since, we probably started 8-0 in Arizona. It takes your game to a different level.
DeAndre, I saw number 8 in there. Is that going to be your number? And so what's the significance?
Kobe Bryant, one of my favorite athletes of all time. So I knew if I ever got the chance to wear number 8, just like when I picked number 10, Messi was my favorite. Soccer player, underdog, felt like me at the time coming out of college, and Kobe, it's number 8 is a special number.
DeAndre, you've been, one of the best receivers since you walked into the league. What does your skill set add to this Chiefs offense, in your opinion?
I can do a lot of things. Obviously, you guys seen, but just trying to make plays. I'm not trying to give a PSA of what I can do or what I can't do. I play football, so it's going out there and making plays, man.
We mentioned that you've worked with a number of quarterbacks. In your experience, how long does it take to truly get on page with the new quarterback that's thrown to you?
Obviously, Pat has done this before with different receivers coming in. I've played with many quarterbacks, so I think we'll be all right.
Andrew, you mentioned a couple of times just as far as the importance of the team winning here and being able to be in that situation. How important is it to you, and was it for you if you were going to make a move, that it's to a contender, and what's the importance of you if you got to play in a Super Bowl?
Very important. I think I've done a lot, all the accolades that I can accomplish as far as personal. So I think
you know, just playing meaningful football in January is, you know, what's left on the list.
Okay, thanks, DeAndre.
Thank you.